Good afternoon, Alejandro. Nice to meet you, yes. And I have some couple of questions for you, please. The question number one. Would it be true to say that most of Swiss retirees are rather satisfied with the state pension system?
Yes, I say that that is a question of persons. So it changes because with every person. And the thing is that you cannot put aside the pension scheme from the rest, because pensions are like building a house. You have the basement, you have the first floor, and you have the second floor. So the basement, for me, is education. And I think that Swiss people are happy with their educational system. The second floor is the labor market. And the labor market is really very strong in Switzerland. Unemployment is really very low, less than 1.5%. And informal economy is almost inexistent. So they are happy with their labor market. There is job, and even workers from Germany, from France, from Italy, they go to work to Switzerland. And then you go to the next stage, which is pensions. And then pensions, it's a mixed system with 3 pillars, and 1 pillar which is guaranteed to everybody, and 2 additional pillars where the companies contribute to your pension, and a 3rd pillar where you yourself, you contribute to your pension. So I think that following the education and the culture of savings and solidarity in Switzerland, I think that most people think that not necessarily that they are happy, but they really feel that the system is fair. It's fair because they're giving me back what I gave to the country, and I'm getting a fair good in return.
Anyway, government Switzerland supports their people, citizens very much, yeah? The support's very good.
Yes, you know, it's a two-way road, because in Switzerland, the government, and this surprises many people many times, the government lasts for 1 year, just for 1 year. So it's really very quick that you can evaluate if the results were there or if they were not there. And if they were not there, it's the people, actually, the people who will decide, this didn't work well, so we're going to move in a different way. And pensions is something that is decided mostly by people. All pension reform in Switzerland, they are not done by experts necessarily. They are not done by the government. There is a referendum voting to the people, and the people vote to increase age, the people vote to increase contributions. So there's always a technical background, but it's the people's decision.
So more things depend on people itself.
More things depend on people, and to me, which is a key element in this, is well-informed people. Each time that they are requested to give their opinion and their vote for a pension reform, you get information on the government's position. This is the government position. This is the position of those who are against the project. And this is the positions of those who are for the project. So you read the 3, and then you make your own decision and you vote. So I think it's a very responsible and educated vote that we have in Switzerland.
Very good. Alejandro, what do you think should be improved first and for the most?
Well, I think it should be simplified. It should be simplified. I think that the system is extremely complex. Many people don't know this, but in Switzerland we have something like 1,400 pension funds with different kinds of autonomy, with different kinds of legislations. They all work, but not all of them with the necessary efficiency that they must have. Some of them, because of the size, that they don't have access to investment opportunities as the big funds have. So I think it would make sense to simplify the process and possibly to put together many of the small pension funds into a larger fund so that they can have access to better investment opportunities.
Yeah, I see, I understand. Okay, so we're moving on. The second question.
Yes.
What measures has Switzerland taken to address the challenges posed by an aging population and increased life expectancy within the pension system?
Yeah, well, this is something that has to be put in the context of the whole economy and the whole society. So Swiss people welcome the extension of life expectancy. They don't really see it as a problem. This is something that it's welcome. So it's a good thing. It's really very important that older people are also voters. So more and more voters vote in favor of considering the rights and the inclusion of older people. So that is a trend. But also the Swiss economy is very efficient. They are innovative, and it's present in different parts of the world. So when you buy here in Kazakhstan some pharmaceuticals that were made in Switzerland, you help Swiss Social Security institution. So I think that the system is quite clever, because Swiss people pay for the Swiss Social Security, including pensions, but they also make the rest of the world to contribute to their social system, including Social Security, including pensions. So the wealth of the economy has a component of Social Security, has a component of pension. So they know they have to spend more, so that they are innovating to get more resources, because the other alternative is not to face the aging of the population. Then are we going to leave them poor? Are we going to give them aside? No, are we going to kill them? They are there, they're going to stay, and they need to have some quality of life. And also, I mentioned that in my intervention this morning. One thing is the pensions itself, and another thing is everything that is around pensions. For example, in Switzerland, there are housing projects for people with low income, but also for pensioners. There are activities for senior people to have holidays or vacations, for example. Public transportation, pensioners pay half of the capacity. So you can have your pension, but if your transport is half, and if your municipality is paying for your holidays, I think you're quite happy, and it works. It works. It's not perfect, and it has to be modernized and modified constantly.
Nice, nice. What is the current rate of return on investments within the Swiss pension system, and how does it impact the retirement income of beneficiaries?
Yeah, well, I start from the second part. I think, of course, the rate of return is crucial for the results, and there is concern that the trends globally are that to reduce rates of return and also to increase inflation, because it's always a battle between inflation and rates of return. And I think that is crucial, and I think that the world itself, Switzerland is doing quite well. They have to reduce inflation, which is around 2% now, which is not really high. But all the neighbors around in the European Union, they have much higher inflation, so that has an impact. And the rates of return, the pension market is a market. It's a market, and there are choices and there are big differences. For example, in the last 5 years, the average rate of return was something like 6%. But if you see those who were the lowest, they were 1.5. And the highest, they were almost 15. So the average was 6, but you have a very wide range. For sure, yeah. And if you take, for example, the 10 lowest in rates of return, the average of the lowest part is like 3.4, and the average of the 10 highest, it's around 7%. So it really fluctuates.
Yeah, all right. So, dear Alejandro, this is the last question for today. How do the Swiss citizens typically plan for their retirement, and what financial literacy initiatives exist to help individuals make informed decisions about their pension savings? If we talk about people in general, individuals.
Yes, yes. No, but you know, in Switzerland has a population of just reached last month apparently 9 million people. It's not too big, and from those 9 million people, there are something like 25%, including me, who are from an external origin, came from Spain, from Portugal, from other countries. So there's this concern about the size of the population. Yeah. And when you arrive to Switzerland, you notice that immediately there are two things that people in Switzerland like. They are very wise with the economy and with their spending. They save. So it's in their culture to save, not really necessarily to expend everything that they earn. So they do savings. So when you tell them you need to save for your pension, say, well, I agree. That was in my blood. It's not necessarily the case in many other countries. Yeah. When you get the money, you want to spend it on Friday evening. For sure. Friday evening. But in Switzerland, they do this. And it's also, this is as in the case of Uruguay that they're mentioning now, in school, from the primary school, secondary school, and the rest, people know that there is something that is called Social Security. People know that there's something that is called taxes. So
they're already informed about
they that. They inform since they are
since childhood.
Since they are child, so for them it's natural.
That's great.
I have to pay. If I am an employer, I will pay my taxes. If I am a worker, I have to pay my contribution to Social Security. And I've heard from my parents and grandparents that saving is good. So there is this cultural mix with education that really helps them to be aware.
That's very good. It is very nice to hear that financial literacy and everything is okay and people know.
People know. I must say that it's not easy.
Yeah.
Some people, there is no real extended poverty in Switzerland, but some people possibly struggle a little bit, but they are responsible. They know that it's worthwhile putting some kind of that, but they also, and I think this is important, they trust the government. They trust that the government is stable, and they trust that if they are in need, the government now, or in 10 years or in 20 years, the Swiss government will be there to help them. So there's this trust on the government, which is also important.